has to be positive 3 and positive radical 3. And then part D, or this one actually shows this way. That's it. For the C, the angle is this way. This is not the standard form. This is a negative. And we have another one to this point, which is 3 comma negative radical 3 again. So the best choice will be A. Correct, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
This is 3 and radical 3. I know your question was, how do we know radical 3? Radical 3, if you use the regular calculator, gives you 1.7 something. So this will be correct. Another question is, they're asking us 6 trigonometric functions. So we already know the 6 trigonometric function. We know about sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, cotangent theta, cosecant theta, and secant of theta. Correct? Those are the 6 trigonometric functions. Our job is to do correctly for these 2, because the other 4 comes from these 2. So we're gonna pick this one. I'm gonna draw it here. This point here is, for example, 3 and radical 3. And this one is theta. They're asking us what is sine theta, what is cosine theta. All right, Elizabeth? I shouldn't just pick you. Jake, does that make sense? It's pretty slow day, guys. I know they changed the time, but everybody's sleeping. It's cold as well. It's freezing here. So I assume everybody's following me. So far, I didn't do any algebra. I wrote the 6 trigonometric function, and all of them gets theta. Theta is for this angle. I draw it here. In order to find them, we need to use the right triangle strategy. So I make a right triangle here. So this right triangle, the value of y is radical 3. The value of x, this length is 3. In order to solve it, we need to use, we have to use Pythagorean theorem to get the hypotenuse here. I'm going to put this one C, for example. We have a squared plus b squared equal to c squared. For example, 3 squared plus radical 3 squared equal to c squared. We have 9 plus 3 equal to c squared. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 equal to c squared. We are looking for c. I can ask anybody here, what is c? I don't want to pick. I was late. I don't want to give you guys a hard time. What is c? Elizabeth, use your fancy calculator. Yvette, what is C?
2 square root 3.
Excellent. Did you use calculator?
No, I did it in my head because I remember solving this, so I'm not like rewriting it.
Very good. As I said before, you guys will see a similar number. So, or you can use the Elizabeth calculator. So C will be radical 12. Anytime we make a square root, we put plus and minus. Because we are dealing with the hypotenuse, this never gonna get negative. So you can just ignore this. Radical 12 is not perfect square, but this is same as 2 times 6, and 6 is 2 times 3. So radical 12 will be 2 for one pair of 2, and radical 3 inside. So we got C, 2 radical 3. So now we go back to our note sheets. This is very important that we learn sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse, correct? But instead of writing those words, we said we can just say y over r. Cosine is x over r. Tangent is y over x. Cotangent is x over y. Cosecant is 1 over sine is r over y. And secant is x, r over x. So we also can transfer this to your note sheet. So we have this from the note sheet. Now is the fun part. The fun part is just substitute. The only problem is we cannot have radical on denominator. So you need to take care of irrationalizing it if radical on denominator. So I'm going to have y over, so this is y, radical 3 over 2 radical 3. This gives us 1 over 2. This is great, radical 3 is gone. So here I can make little cloud that x equal to 3, y equal to radical 3, and r equal to 2 radical 3. Cosine theta is x over r. X is 3 over 2 radical 3. Unfortunately, we have radical 3 on denominator. That means we need to irrationalize it. We need to multiply by radical 3. Top radical 3, denominator radical 3. This gives us 3 radical 3 over 2 times 3. Radical 3 times radical 3 is 9. 9 radical 9 is 3. 3 will cancel. We will get radical 3 over 2. Correct? What is tangent y over x? Y is radical 3 over 3. What is cotangent? X over y, 3 over radical 3. You irrationalize it, you will get 3 radical 3 over 3. Cosecant r over y.
Professor,
Yes,
when those 2 3s don't cancel out, or is that a 2?
was just waiting you to tell me. Thank you. That's why I circled them. Yeah, I forgot to cancel them. Thank you. 2 radical cosecant is r, 2 radical 3 over y radical 3. I cancel them, the answer is 2. Secant is r, over x. That's it. All right.
Thank you, Professor.
So you will see questions like this for this course all the time. I mean, the way they were worded differently, but they give us some information and they ask us find the rest of trigonometric functions. So back to this question now. What do you think this angle will be? Do we know it? I mean, the result is 1/2 radical 3/2, radical 3, radical 3/3. Does it ring a bell that you might know this?
Isn't it 45 degrees?
Almost. If you look at the table, in just one of them, sine of what angle is 1/2? Look at-
30.
Very good, 30 degrees. So when you see 1/2 radical 3/2, you should, I mean, you don't need to go look at the table to answer the rest of the question, but we could done that. We could just say, oh, when you say sine of theta is 1/2, that means it's 30 degrees. So you're going to say, oh, cosine 30 is radical 3/2. But not all the time you will see a number which is in your unit circle. So when you are here, when we said sine of theta equal to 1/2, then we say Yvette said theta equal to 30 degrees, which is good. I'm gonna emphasize on this little more if there is no other homework question. Do you guys have any other homework question? Elizabeth, do you have any other question? Or somebody else? There are 40 questions.
I have a question.
Sure, Yvette.
So it's problems like 41 through 44. It asked about, you know how we were doing like the counting of the angles. I know how to get the answer. Like I know how to count the angles to get the answer that they're asking for. I just want to know, where do you start counting? Do you start at 0 or do you start at the degrees that they give you? Because there were some answers where I started counting at like 0 degrees and that my answer was wrong. And then I started counting at the angle and my answer was right. Does that make sense?
Let me see the question.
For example, like 43. Do you want me to pull it up?
I have it here. 43. You said you started from 0, was wrong?
So for that one, I started at 180. Like I counted the numbers that I plugged in. And that's where I got the answer that was undefined. But when I started counting at 0, my answer was wrong. But for example, 44, I started at 90 degrees and I got the wrong answer. But then when I started at 0, that's when I got the right answer.
Okay, let's work on this. Let's work on this. Goes to negative infinity in details, but is undefined. So this is going to be undefined as well. And I see your homework said undefined. Didn't say plus or minus, so didn't go to details, correct?
Yeah.
So this is undefined. 5 times 90, this is 190, 290, 390, 490, 590. So again, I end up being at the 90. So this much is enough to tell us that the answer is undefined. That was your question? Your question was what plus minus of infinity?
No, so like, let me give you an example. A simple like cosecant n times 180.
Oh, cosecant n times 180.
So let's say we have like 1, 3, 5.
Excellent. 0, 1, 2, 3, 5.
Okay, yeah. So
So
what
this-
I'm saying is if you start at 0 degrees to start counting, you'll go to 180 and cosecant of 180 or like of that angle.
Okay,
hold on,
cosecant of 180 is same as 1 over sine of n times 180, correct? So now let's see if n equal to 0, let's make another layer for you guys. So cosecant of n times 180. So then n equal to 0, n equal to 1, n equal to 2, n equal to 3. If it's 0, we get 0. If it's 1, we get 1 times 180, 2 times 180, and 3 times 180. Again, for the cosecant and secant, I would like you guys to make a sine and cosine. This is exactly the same as 1 over sine of n times 180 degrees. So the first question, what is 1 of sine of 0 times 180? 0 times 180 is same as 1 sine of 0. Then we have 1 over sine of 1 times 180. Then sine of 2 times 180. We should not get two different answers for this type of question. If you see a circle, let me bring the unit circle. Unit circle. Correct. So sine of 0. This is 0. What is sine of 0? If it's sine of 0 is value of y, correct?
Yeah.
So this gives us 1 over 0, which is undefined. 1 over any, 0 on denominator makes it undefined. So that means this, so this is exactly the same as this one. If it's sine of 1 times 80, so this is 1 times 180. Again, sine of is 0, is same as 0. Again, is undefined. So 2 times 180, this is 180, this is 280, 180. Again, being on this point, which is again 1 over 0. If it's instead of 2, you put 3, you end up being here. So the answer is 0 or this 0, which is 1 over that will be undefined. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or is it clear, or you still have question?
No, yeah, that makes sense.
So we don't negotiate to start from 1 or 2. For the integers, anytime you see n, we start from 0.
No, so like my question was about where do you start counting on once you get those numbers, when you start on the circle, like when you actually start counting? Like I was asking, do you start at like 180 and then go like 1, 2, you get me?
Yeah, that should work as well. If you don't start from this one, if you start, this is 1 times 180 being here. Now 2 times 180. So you go back to original. This is 180 and that's 280, you being here.
Yeah, so
You don't continue from what you left before. That's different question.
no, yeah. So that's where I was getting confused. So for
Mhm.
example, if I started from counting from 180, I tried transferring that over to like
No,
a question that had
no.
90 degrees and it didn't work, you know? So that's where I got myself confused.
No. And you go from the back to the 0 again. Correct?
Yeah.
180, this is 180. No, this is 2 times 180. Again, you're gonna go, this is 280. All right. All right, yeah, you good?
Yes, thank you.
Sure. So should I solve this one, cosecant of this? So again, they put 4n plus 3. If n equal to 0, if you put 0 there, we're gonna get cosecant of 3 times 90. If n equal to 1, we're gonna get cosecant of 7 times 90. If n equal to 2, we're gonna cosecant of 8 plus 3, 11 times 90. Okay, so we will get not all the odd number, but every other odd number we get here. So we're dealing with cosecant, so we're going to take it to the secant. So cosecant of 3 times 190, this is same as 1 over sine of 3 times 90 degrees. This is 1 over sine of 7 times 90 degrees. This is 1 over sine of 11 times 90 degrees. So again, the point of making this type of question is to confuse you guys to don't do very well. Not don't do very well, but to challenge you guys that you really understand the question and you don't have any fear. So 3 times 90 sine of that. This is 190, that's 290, that's 390. So the 390, the sine of this, it will be -1. Good. What about sine of 7 times 90? If you do one, I mean, the way I'm doing it, I'm breaking it down, but if instead of 7, that was 700, differently, I would multiply and take 360 out for one revolution. But here, 7 times 90, that means if you do one, if you do one revolution, it will be 490, correct? 90. So 4, 5, 6, 7. I end up being here again. Again, the answer is -1. 11, so it would be 2 loop, which is 8, 9, 10, 11. So the answer is -1, -1, -1. So you pick -1 for that question. Wow, 9:20, time flies. I start late. Any other question?
Professor, I have another question, but if anyone else has one, if they want to go first.
Jack, do you have a question?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Yeah. Elizabeth is good too. Elizabeth, what's your question, Elizabeth?
It's like similar to the one I asked before, but
What
it's
number is that?
number 17.
I like those questions. You will see it in exam. Number 17. So it seems like you don't like those points. 3 radical 3 minus this one.
No, it's -2 radical 5, comma 4.
So that's for number 17, that's what I have, but it changes for people, but what I see is same. I mean, same level of difficulty. So again, they ask us the 6th trigonometric function, the standard position of theta, correct? So to me, it looks like you having freaking out of this one, correct? Because you cannot see it in your calculator. But on last week, we solved question that they give us equation of line, correct? And then, so that's different level. You might have a question that they don't give you a point, they give you a line. But let's work on this one. So we have X and Y, correct? On this quadrant, X, if X is negative, gonna be on quadrant 3 and 4. but then y is positive. So it's only going to be on quadrant 2. Agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, so negative root 2 radical 5, you don't need to find exact the same position there. No, you can just say somewhere around here. This is negative 2 root 5, and you go 4 up here, for example. Then this point will be point of what we're looking for example, point P. Now, this makes an angle. This is our theta. So in your multiple choice, you will pick what is, the one that it has this characteristic. Do you have that option?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna solve for, now we're gonna go through our 6 trigonometric function. Now we're gonna go to sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, cotangent theta, cosecant of theta, and secant of theta. Also, you will write them y over r, x over r, y over x, x over y, cosecant is r over y, secant is r over x. Good. So your job is to find x, y, and r. We make a right triangle. I know this is, the theta is here. We need to find a reference angle. The reference angle will be this one, always the angle to the x-axis, because there is no way we can make a right triangle this way. It doesn't work. So our right triangle will be this one. I know that when you're visualizing, this much of angle is not equal to this much. But the sine and cosine, all the 6 trigonometric, the value of the length of y and x will be same. So we can cheat. We can just erase this theta, correct? And put theta here. Now life is much easier. Y is 4. This x is negative 2 root 5. What's the next step?
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Yes, we need to solve for r because all of them has r. So 4 squared plus negative 2 root 5 squared equal to r squared. This is 16. Negative 2 root 5 squared. We don't want to do any algebraic mistake. If you do a mistake here, the next 20 minutes is going to be wrong. Everything you do is wrong. So we have negative 2 root 5 squared. This negative will go away because it's going to be positive when you square it. 2 squared is 4. Root 5 squared is 5. So the answer is 20. Plus 20 equal to r squared. This is 36 is r squared. R will be positive 6. We don't get negative. So good thing is we don't get radical, r6. So now is a fun part. Sine of theta, y over r, which is 4 over 6. Cosine of theta is x over r, negative 2 root 5 over 6. And you do the rest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Current said, yeah, that's good.